Joe Giglio for NJ Sports Now on this Monday, June the 22nd. We have reached a critical point in the season for the New York Mets. This is the time where this season could go in one direction or go in a totally different direction. For a couple months here, the Mets have stayed on top or right there in the National League East thanks to good pitching, a little timely hitting, and really mostly the ineptitude of the division behind them. Well, now the Nationals, led by Max Scherzer, led by Bryce Harper, and not much else behind them, have started to put their things together here, have started to put their play together and surged ahead of the Mets, who are now losers of 5 straight games, an awful road trip into Toronto, into Atlanta. The Mets were beat up, and the Mets need life support here. And this time, it's not about Terry Collins. This time, it's not about the players that are there, but this time it's about who the Mets could bring in to ignite this baseball team. The Mets need energy. The Mets need a boost here, and you're not going to get it from David Wright anytime soon, and it doesn't look like Steven Matz, the heralded young pitcher, the next in line of all these heralded young pitchers to come up. It doesn't look like it's his turn quite yet. So when the Mets look at their team, and I look at their team, I see a slew of players that aren't major league caliber right now. A slew of players that Terry Collins is forced to put out there, whether it be the bullpen or whether it be in the field, that just can't get the job done. The other night, middle infield, no one covers second base on a steal attempt. Eric Campbell on Saturday night, infield in, instead of coming home with the baseball and a ground ball, he goes to third base. The Mets, all year long, we've talked about the fact that David Wright, and they hope he still comes back, it almost limits them in what position they could target. You can't go out and just get a long-term star third baseman, because what if Wright does come back? They owe him a lot of money over the next several years. The Mets, in their perfect world right now, if they're going to add to this team, they need to add a bat that could produce, but that bat has to also be a versatile defender. It's not an easy task to find what the Mets need. Obviously, the name that has been probably the preeminent player in that mold the past 5 or 6 years, Ben Zobrist, formerly with the Rays and now with the A's. He's the prize, but he's going to cost an arm and a leg. For me, the player the Mets should target that helps them now and helps them for years is Brock Holt. Little-known guy from the Boston Red Sox. If you watch the Red Sox, you watch the American League, you know how good Brock Holt is when he's actually on the field. The Red Sox, for as bad as they are at 31-40, have so many players locked into long-term contracts, so many players at fixed positions, that a super utility guy like Brock Holt, it's difficult to actually find him on the field. But when he's out there, he could play every single position except pitcher and catcher. You look at his numbers for this year, he is hitting the cover off the baseball in his age 27 season. 318 batting average, 407 with the on-base, 486 with the slugging percentage. He's not arbitration eligible till 2017. He's not a free agent until 2020. Now look, he's having a big year, but I don't think the Red Sox at 31-40 are going to cherish him and look at him as the A's will with Ben Zobrist or other teams will with their big players like Todd Frazier and the Reds. I think if the Mets made the Red Sox a very good offer, I'm not talking about Syndergaard or Matz, but if you offer a Rafael Montero or a hitting caliber prospect on the same level as Montero, I think the Red Sox, when they do decide maybe to wave this white flag over the next couple weeks, will make Holt available. And to me, he's the perfect player for the Mets. You could play him at second. You could play him at third. You could play him in the outfield. You could pinch run him, defense, late in games, pinch hit him. He's a Met for now. On this team, he can help. And as you build the future of the Mets, you could plug him in almost anywhere. If Sandy Alderson's going to find energy for this team, he has to get creative. And up in Boston, there's a player in Brock Holt begging to be on a winning team because he's the type of player that excels in a really good environment. And the Mets right now, if they had him, could be a team and could be that team you really start to think about when it comes deep into October. But they need another player. They need a player like Holt, and it's time for Sandy Alderson to go out and help ignite the Mets before this season spirals out of control. I'm Joe Giglio for NJ Sports Now.